ask something. I'm gonna also ask the teacher her answer. And then I want us to discuss it. And what I'm trying to do here is I want you to think about something a little different. If you think about things one way, or you've been taught something one way, well then what happens? It's only one way. In aviation, we think of a lot of things. We're taught emergency procedures, we're taught procedures, we're taught really, a lot of numbers and statistics that we have to memorize, that we have to understand. We don't have to know it verbatim, we don't have to know it word for word, but we gotta understand and know where it comes from in the event that what hits the fan. We gotta know what to do. So, that being said, I'm gonna ask you a question here. I ask this on every new hire class. Sometimes they answer, sometimes they don't. Do you know what this is? I heard nothing over here.
Looks like a pen to me.
Do you know what this is? Who says it's a pen? Raise your hand. Who says it's a writing utensil? Who says it's black? Who says no?
No.
Who says yes? Is that your answer?
No.
Who says it's blue? What's your answer, Miss John?
Oh, black pen.
Really dark black. Oh,
I want you to think of something.
classic plan with no ink in it.
In aviation, we're asked many questions. And when we're tested on many questions, you want to answer the question. My question was, do you know what this is?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what's your answer now?
Yes.
If you look at things different going through college and through life, you can pretty much answer anything that you want to. Answer the question. Because here in aviation, here's how it goes. The guy asks me, says, do you know what this is? My answer is yes. What is it? You say a lot of things. You say it's a writing utensil. You say it's a pen. You go, okay. What color of pen is it? It's black. Could be blue. Just depends on the ink that's in it. The point being is always understand what the goal is and always understand what's being asked before you answer. Because when I left high school, I was like, looks like it's a black writing utensil that people call pen. The color can be blue, black, pink, gray, brown, whatever. And then as I learned through aviation, they might ask you one other question about that pen. If I've already told them every little thing that I know about it, because they asked me, do you know what it is? And he asked me the next question, and I go, I don't know. They can gauge you and they can verify that you may or you may not know what you're talking about. So that being said, always understand the question, always understand what's being asked of you. Always do that. And I like getting certain answers because sometimes people get it, sometimes people don't. So that's a little trick I like to play because it was played on me one time and it made a lasting impression. I know you all are busy. Do you have any other questions?
I have some.
I'm here for you.
Could you tell us about, okay, well, first of all, where do you start? If some of them, today are just interested in this industry, where's a good starting point?
A good starting point, I would give advice to anybody that's starting out in the aviation industry is go hang out at the airport. Go find a friend or somebody that may have or may not have their pilot license, their own personal plane. You also can go out there and there's instructors that are out at Longview. There's also some, you may have to drive to Dallas, for example, and go on what's called a discovery flight. Discovery flights, you'll go out and fly about an hour. It's just like you were gonna be on day one. They take you up, let you fly around a little bit. They may try to let you land or take off. It's just a discovery flight. And if that's gonna be your best avenue, because what happens in aviation, some people cannot overcome certain tendencies. For example, you may have where you get vertigo a lot, or you may stay dizzy a lot, or you may not like it. So it's one of those things. Go out and do a discovery flight before you jump in. Now, once you jump in, you're pretty much there unless you walk away. What happens in aviation is you have to take written tests, you have to go to classes, and then you also have to go out in the airplane and do certain type of maneuvers. We have steep turns, we have stalls. Stalls basically where an airplane quits flying, starts falling out of the sky. Well, you just sit there, it's not gonna go real well. So you have to learn how to overcome that. You also have to learn about aviation charts. You also have to learn about weather and things like that. So your first step would be go out and get a discovery flight. And along with that, there's other steps. You have to go out and you have to get a medical where they check your eyes, your ears, your hearing, things like that. And they also check your heart, see if you're on any type of medications. So it's kind of one of those deals.
And TSTC in Waco is one of the
TSTC in Waco is a very good school. It's a 2-year program. There's a lot of other programs that are out there. You don't have to go and have a full-fledged aviation degree to fly. I flew with many people. I've flown with doctors. I've flown with lawyers. I've flown with people that were teachers, and they had aviation. They chose to go that way.
So, I don't know if it's just a rumor or whatever, but is it true that you can't be a pilot if you have any type of vision?
Not necessarily. You will take an eye test, and of course you have to disclose on that application whether you wear contacts or glasses and things like that. No, so not fully. If your vision's really really bad, and who knows? If it's really bad and non-corrected and things, then there are certain stipulations. Correct. But yes, always go try.
Good question.
Folks, aviation is one of those type of careers that is similar to a doctor or a lawyer. It's not one of those things where you go out and spend a little bit of money and they give you a degree. It's a long process. In order to get your private pilot license, you have to have about 40 hours of flight time. Then you have probably that much or more studying on your own plus class time. What you go from there is you go into an instrument rating. From an instrument rating, what you're learning is basically take your sunglasses or you're going down the road and you block out all the sun and everything and you're just watching your gauges on the inside. There are instruments that are in the airplane that tell you what's going on outside in relation to the airplane inside. So that's your instrument rating. That's really probably to me the hardest step because you have those tendencies to start getting vertigo or the leans or anything like that. But you have to have that in order to have a commercial certificate. Commercial certificate comes in single engine and they also come in multi-engine because airplanes, they have one engine, they have two. Sometimes they have 4. But that multi-engine goes along with all of that. From there, if you chose to be a certified flight instructor, where you could teach flying then, that's another type of add-on certificate or rating. You can become a CFII, which is a Certified Flight Instructor Instrument, where then you can go out and you can teach people to become an instrument-rated pilot. And again, that's where you're out flying in the weather, you're out what's called, we call it shooting approach, where you're basically flying down, getting close to the ground and gonna land. You become that. And then you can become a multi-engine instructor and things like that. So there's all these different types of levels. Once you get to 1,500 hours, you can then test and study for your what's called an ATP, Airline Transport Pilot Certificate. And basically what that is the highest rating you can go for flying other than what we do at the airlines for certain airplanes, which are called type ratings. So let me explain a little bit. I know I'm talking a little bit over. You're like, what the heck's he talking about? CFI, so those are all acronyms. In the aviation industry, we use a lot of acronyms. ATC, CFI. It's just slowly, guys that are in the industry, girls that are in the industry, we understand that because it's just a different type of language. But it's better than saying airline transport pilot or certified flight instructor. But all industry that you'll get in, you will understand that. I'm sure there's some welding type acronyms y'all use, or some words in there just as there is in the air conditioning business. So once you become an ATP, you have to have that in order to be an airline pilot. That is $1,500. Now that doesn't sound like a whole lot of time, but I can tell you it's a long time. It's a lot of seat miles. It's a lot of ground covered, I should say, if you have that. Then, when you come to the airlines, you have what's called a type rating. A type rating is where you specifically learn about that particular airplane itself. How many of you drive a Ford? How many of you, how many drive a Chevy? How many drive a Nissan? How many drive, what else is out there? Volkswagen. Okay, think of it like this. What do you drive, bud? A Nissan. Nissan. Who drives a Chevy? Alright, we're going to explain this. I'm going to explain it real simple. You drive a Nissan. You go learn about this particular vehicle. Is it a truck or car? Car. You go learn about this particular car. When I say you learn about it, you learn about from the front to the back, all through the inside, the mechanical portions of it, the electrical, the hydraulics in airplanes. You will learn about brakes. You will learn about what all makes this thing operate, the engine, everything. Now, you have this Nissan type rating, because me as an examiner, I'm going to now give you the questions of what's this? What's this? You know what it is? See?
Yeah.
They're going to ask you those questions. Then you have to go out and you have to show me, kind of like a driver's ed little test. You have to do that. Now you're Nissan. You're what? Chevrolet? Ford?
My legs.
Legs? Okay. Hey, let's say you're Chevrolet. You can't go drive his Nissan, and you can't go drive his Chevrolet.
Trust them. That's all I know.
Because now, you have your type rating, or you've been taught, you can't swap. Because the systems are different, everything's different. It's an airplane, it flies the same. You give enough gas and got enough money, it'll go. It's simple. You give enough gas, have a big enough engine, it will leave the earth. But say you now wanted to learn about Chevrolet, F-150 or whatever, you would go to that particular school. So, and those add on to your ATP certificate. For example, I fly the Embraer 145. I'm Embraer 145 top rated, but it's connected to my ATP certificate.
Kind of like my husband knows how to work on a Detroit or a,
Correct.
I don't even know what they are.
We got Cummins.
Cummins.
You got Detroit. You got Cummins. You got
International.
Caterpillar, International.
Mac.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's had to go to schools to learn that particular engine.
And he worked at each dealership through the years to learn how to work on them all. Tell us about, through your experience, what other, besides being a pilot in the aviation industry, what are other careers that you have found, that would be good for someone?
One thing that I did is I got out of high school, I worked for the ambulance service. I worked right here for what was Champion EMS, and now they're Christus, I believe, Good Shepherd here. Worked for that. I think the fire department is a very, very good program. It's a little bit more physical, but I can tell you that the people that I do know that's at the fire department, the people that I do know that still works on the ambulance, That is a great industry. That is a great program. And I can tell you this, that Longview, Texas has some of the best retirement for firemen in the state of Texas. It's a very good program if you like the action. Police department's good. I have some friends in the police department, I have some family that's in the police department. And go on in. We gotta start over.
We got the video. That's okay. Tell us about earning potential in the aviation industry. I'm sure it's all over the place.
It's all over the board. Aviation industry is all over the board. You have different types of stuff. Say for example, if you don't want to fly for the airlines, you want to fly for like a charter company or a corporate. What that would be, let's just say, and I'm using, let's say Peter Chevrolet. And I'm just using names because I can think of that. Say he had a private jet. You could go to work for somebody like that. You could go to work with them. You take them shopping. You take them. They decide they want a hamburger from Wall Street. You got to go get a hamburger from Wall Street. It's that type of job. You can get in corporate/charter stuff like what I did out in California, to where if you call, basically it's similar to a very expensive taxi. You want to go somewhere, they tell you what the price is, pay it, and you're gone. And you can also go to the airlines. That being said, all revenue or money to you is across the board. Probably somebody like working out and I'm just using it, like if you work for somebody like a corporate guy or a private guy, or somebody like that on their own airplane, you can make anywhere from 50 to 200,000, depending on how big an airplane, depending on how many type ratings and how much experience you had. If you come to the, you could go to charter, same type deal. You could go from anywhere from 50 to 200,000 or 300,000. I know some folks, and I've heard some folks that make $350,000 a year. But that's very it's there, but you got to have one of those great jobs. I have a good friend of mine that left a $300,000 a year job and went back to the airlines because of retirement benefits and things like that. If you go to the airlines, you're going to start first year. You got to basically show that you're there. You got to prove yourself, and it slowly goes up from there. If you're sitting in the left seat versus the right seat, and what I'm saying by that is the left seat is considered the captain. He's kind of the boss. That person is going to make more than it would be as a co-pilot, and a co-pilot is where you come in, and so it goes anywhere from 30,000, 40,000 all the way up to 300,000 or 400,000. So if you get some people that are very senior, you know, they're within their last year or two of their career, and they did everything just right, and they're flying like a 747 or a big huge intercontinental airplane, some of those guys are pushing $400,000 a year. After their benefits and their retirement that is contributed, they're probably making well over $400,000. But money's not everything. I want to say that. So,
What has been your favorite position that you've had over the years?
I'm really enjoying what I'm doing now. It's a lot different. I mean, I've got a little over 10,000 flight hours in the airline business, and I've really enjoyed this particular position I'm in now, which is basically talking to the new hires, working with the manuals, working with management and things like that.
Mr. Morrison?
Yeah, bud.
So what made you go and do real estate or something on the side rather than just stick into full-time aviation?
I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial type spirit, and I've never been one of those type of people that sit around. I've always enjoyed tinkering with things, and I had the opportunity, and you hear people that may have real estate on the side, or they may have doing this on the side, and the opportunity came up, so I stepped in it. And it's a you see I'm bald, and you will pull your hair out, that type of deal, along with anything. But I wanted to get into it to see, and it's one of those things you never know unless you do it.
Right.
So, you know, real estate, people that make a lot of money in real estate,